Hello everyone, my name is Renee. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. I've been playing the One Piece card game since OPO 3, I've played a couple of regionals since OPO 7, and I've been a judge in the One Piece card game since OP 10. As we're getting closer to the Bande Cardfest in Utrecht, and more regionals and store championships are being announced for the new seasons, I would like to share with you 3 things everybody needs to know before playing competitive. Let's get to the video. Number 0, the TRM and the comprehensive rules. Most of the things I'm about to say in this video are not some deep, dark secret judges keep from you. Most of these things are written in the TRM, the Tournament Rules Manual, and the comprehensive rules. Do yourself the favor and read those documents. I know they are pretty long, but if you keep reading, you will learn a lot of things you probably didn't know about game mechanics, about game procedures, about anything. Anything you need to learn before playing competitive. Do yourself the favor and read them. Number 1, the basics, the tiebreakers and overtime. As we all know, a match in the One Piece card game cannot end in a draw, so when the 30 minutes are up, we enter a phase called overtime. During overtime, players have either 5 minutes or 3 turns to finish their game, whichever come first. A mistake I've seen many players doing is believing that they can choose how to end the game. The 5 minutes are up, I tell them time's up, and they tell me, no, we have agreed on playing turns. You are not allowed to do that. It's whichever comes first. If the 5 minutes are up, the game is over. If the 3 turns are played, the game is over. Doesn't matter if there's still time on the clock. Whichever of these conditions is met, the game is over. Also, how do we count the turns? When the 30 minutes are up, if it's my turn playing, this is turn 0. So we play turn 0, turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, over. Or 5 minutes. Whichever come first. Don't forget this. So, what do we do if the 5 minutes or the 3 turns are over and there's still no clear winner? Judges check 4 conditions in this turn to define the winner. Number 1, most life cards. Number 2, most cards left in player's deck. Number 3, most characters on field. And number 4, which player took damage the last. When the overtime is over, if you have more life cards than your opponent, you win. If you're still tied, if you have more cards left on your deck, you win. If you're still tied, if you have more characters on your field, you win. If you're still tied, if you were the last player who took damage, who took a card from his life cards, you win. It is vital you understand the overtime rules and the tiebreakers before playing competitive, because if your opponent knows about those things and you do not, you're playing at a disadvantage. So learn those things, understand them, and as I said, read the TRM. Everything I said is on the TRM. I read it. It will help you a lot. The big bad of the One Piece card game, and for a very good reason, if you ask me. We all saw what Nami can do. Oh boy. Wait and see what this bitch will do. I love you, but you're going to be the pain of our existence. I destroyed something. I really wish I could share with you everything about slow play, about every cheap trick these people do, but I cannot. It's like teaching people how to cheat, how to slow play, and I cannot do that. I don't want to do that. We already have enough people slow playing. I don't want more. I don't want more. What I can advise you to do is keep an eye for slow play from turn 1. People who slow play, do not hesitate to do it from turn 1. And usually since it's the first turns of the game, they do not expect their opponents to call them out. If you see slow play in the early stages of the game, call your opponent out. Tell them, hey, could you please play a little faster? And if they do not, call a judge. Sometimes the only way to realize your opponent is slow playing is experience and instinct. Trust your gut. If you're feeling something is off, if you're thinking your opponent is taking too much time, don't be afraid to call a judge. The only thing you can do if your opponent is slow playing is to call a judge. Don't be afraid to call a judge. Remember that you have the right to call a judge to monitor for slow play. You have the right to call a judge and ask them to stay at your table to watch if your opponent is slow playing and do something about it. You have this right, use it, and please do it early. Don't wait for overtime to be over and then tell the judge, yes, but my opponent was slow playing. The judge will not be able to help you because the time is up and there is no proof. The very moment you suspect slow play, the very moment you see something suspicious, something off, call a judge. Do it early so the judge can help you. Do it early, please. Plus remember that you have the right for a time extension if your opponent is slow playing. If the judge agrees that your opponent is slow playing and gives them a warning, they should also give you time extension. Remember this. Ask for it if the judge forgets it. Ask for it. It's your right. Lastly, you have the right to have a judge on your table during overtime. The moment the 30 minutes are up, raise your hand, call a judge. A judge should always be on your table during overtime to monitor slow play and anything else you might need. When you enter the overtime phase, raise your hand, call a judge. Players, please call a judge whenever you see something suspicious. Please, don't be afraid to call a judge. I've seen good players with many tops, with many serials, good players, good friends of mine, losing games they shouldn't have lost just because they were too afraid to call a judge. Why? You have the right to call a judge for anything that goes wrong throughout the game. So, here is what we're going to do now. I'm going to read you your rights. Okay, jokes aside, you always have the right to call a judge. There is no stupid judge call or unnecessary judge call or nothing. Whenever you feel something is off, do not be afraid to call a judge. Don't lose games just because you were afraid to call a judge. Judges are here to help us all. Call a judge whenever you feel something is suspicious. Call a judge. I will say it again and again and again. So, here's what happens during a judge call. First of all judge calls must be in English or in a language that both you and your opponent and the judge, of course, understand. It's important to be able to understand all of the time what your opponent is telling to the judge and what the judge is telling to your opponent. So if your opponent is trying to speak their native language that you do not understand, always ask them to switch back in English. So the most vital thing during a judge call is to treat your field like a crime scene. Touch nothing. And I'm not even joking. Okay, I'm joking a little. But honestly, if a judge call is happening, do not touch anything on your field because the judge who will take the call needs to be able to understand what exactly is going on at this moment. It's important to use throughout the game dice or token or whatever you can to track down anything that's happening. Cost reduction or power boost or frozen characters or characters that cannot attack or leader ability used or card in opponent hand. Always important. always use dice and tokens and whatever to communicate with your opponent and the judge. Always. Also, a small tip from my small experience. Never pick up your stuff before you successfully and clearly have input your result in the Bandai app. Never. Result first, accept the result second, pick up stuff the last. Remember this. So, what happens at the end of a judge call? You always have the right to appeal to the head judge. As I said, judges are people and people sometimes make mistakes. So if you feel a judgment or a ruling or whatever is unfair or wrong or whatever, you always have the right to call the head judge. The head judge is the most experienced judge in the event, and they probably give a different ruling or not. But either way, you always have the right to ask for a second opinion. Do not forget this right. If you disagree with a ruling, you always have the right to call the head judge. Do not forget this. Last, all long judge calls come with a time extension. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? If a judge call takes up too much time, that's time taken from your game, and you have the right to play 30 minutes. So if a judge forgets to give you a time extension, demand it. You have the right to play 30 minutes. If a judge call took too much time, you have the right for a time extension. Always. Do not forget this. Lastly, I would like to share with you something that the majority of players do not know. You have the right to ask for a judge to shuffle your deck. So here's the thing with shuffling. I shuffle my deck, I give it to my opponent to shuffle or cut, whatever they want. They have the right to do both. But when my opponent is done with my deck, I do not have the right to touch it again. I cannot shuffle it, I cannot cut it. Many of us have watched a certain clip from a certain game with a certain player shuffling certainly suspicious. So if you feel that your opponent is shuffling your deck in a weird way that could bring you in a disadvantage, again, like slow play, I cannot share much advice. But if you feel something is off with the way your opponent is shuffling, you have the right to call a judge and ask them to shuffle the deck for you. So that's it for today's video. I really hope I helped. Honestly, I'm tired of seeing good players who deserve to win losing only because they were too afraid to call a judge or because their opponent was slow playing and they didn't call a judge early on. And whatever. I really hope this video helped, and next time you will be able to protect yourself from unsportsmanlike behaviors. As always, my DMs in all social medias are open if you want to ask anything or share anything. My DMs are open for whatever you need. I really hope I helped. Until next video, goodbye.